Thank you, Chairwoman. Well, I want to say I support the proposed reforms, and I hope that they ultimately get implemented. I think it would represent progress. I think we probably all agree that we want to see Cuba change. The question is, how does that happen? Does it happen with the same isolationist, arm's-length policy that we've pursued for the last 60 years, that has made Cuba weaker, poorer, that has thrown it into the arms of Russia and China? Or does it help through engagement? Now, the private sector in Cuba is made up not just, there may be some folks who are fronts for the government, but it's my understanding that a lot of these folks are regular Cubans. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Can you tell us how the private sector is benefiting the Cuban people? Not the government, but the Cuban people.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that question. And I had a good opportunity to speak with a number of these individuals just this week. And these are cafe and restaurant owners, event producers, individuals who are having a really hard time importing goods. So these are individuals who make no money from the state economy, who cannot survive. And this new way of business, 30% of the Cuban economy, this is really the future. And frankly, this is capitalism, and this is what we want in Cuba. So when we're doing work, training individuals, whether it's on marketing, labor rights, or otherwise, these are skills on capitalism. That's precisely what we need for these individuals who are really struggling.
This is the creation of a market-based economy, the beginnings of it at least.
Precisely.
And even, I know Chairwoman Salazar made the point about government fronts, but let's just assume that all of these businesses were run by somebody in the government or some agency. It would still represent a kind of transformation to a market-based economy, at least more than what you've seen right now. So even in the worst case scenario where all of it was run by the government, it is a new kind of market-based economy. I don't believe that's the case. Nothing I've seen or heard convinces me that that's the case. But it represents the Cuban government implicitly, the communist Cuban government, implicitly admitting that they have to do something different than they've done for decades. And so that is a positive thing for us. The current situation is also dangerous for the Cuban people and for the United States and for Latin America, because it has caused hundreds of thousands of Cubans to flee Cuba and make the dangerous trek to the United States. We speak often about addressing the challenges of migration. And we talk about, well, we're going to put this many Border Patrol, and we're going to put more surveillance, and and there's going to be a bigger section of the wall in Texas. The longer-term solution is to help build up the economies of these places and the safety of these places that people are fleeing. And so the private sector growing in Cuba, to me, represents one promising aspect of what's going on in the countries where people are fleeing in Latin America. I wanted to ask you a question about the embargo. These efforts to increase access to financial services, as I said, are welcome, but I feel like we're ignoring the elephant in the room. If the goal is to help the Cuban private sector, the 60-year embargo of Cuba, I believe, must end. So I wanted to ask you, does the administration continue to support the embargo? And if so, does the State Department have evidence to show that the embargo has accomplished its purpose?
Thank you, sir. We do not have any comment in terms of actions that Congress would have to take with regard to the embargo, but certainly understand your perspective on this, and anything that we do in terms of reforms would be done under U.S. law.
Now, a question on migration. Since 2021, 3% of Cubans have fled their country, the majority to the United States. In response, the Biden administration has expanded lawful pathways for Cubans to migrate to the United States, including through access to humanitarian parole and family reunification programs. How vital is the President's parole authority in helping manage migration from Cuba?
Thank you for that question. And you're absolutely right. This administration has expanded lawful pathways in a way that has not been done in decades. And we've created lawful pathways for these individuals seeking entry in the United States, including through the Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela parole program, and the Cuba Family Reunification Parole Program. And with CHNV, the program I mentioned first, 68,000 Cubans have been able to have a legal pathway to the United States as of January 11th of this year under that program over the past year. So this has been a vital pathway, as has the CFRP.
Thank you. I yield back.
Have a little more.
That's fine.
All right.
I know, I want the other members to be able to.
All right.